Welcome everyone to Cinema Spotlight. Diving into Guillermo del Toro's career, we will be talking about Hellboy 2, The Golden Army. Hellboy 2 dives into the mythos of a war that brewed between humans and elves. The indestructible Golden Army was created to win said war, but the bloodshed was too great, and a truce was formed between King Balor and the humans. After said truce, Prince Nuada, son of the king, exiles himself only to return an unspecified time later, gathering pieces of a crown that would awaken the Golden Army. Enter Hellboy and crew, finding themselves tangled in this mess, hoping to stop the prince from getting what he wants and venturing into a realm of creatures and magic. That goes without saying, of course, making sure that the army doesn't rise. Unfortunately, we reach the second and final installment of the Hellboy franchise that Guillermo has graced us with. Ron Perlman reprises his role for his final time, unless we're surprised with a third film, and God, I'm still depressed that we never got a third film and a reboot instead. Still pisses me off. I was pleasantly surprised when this film was made. I found myself heading right on into the theater, getting ready to be blown away by the special effects, makeup, and the overall story. But was I? Well, I wasn't blown away, but I certainly enjoyed the hell out of this movie. This is the kind of film that gets to do whatever it wants and gets away with it. Clearly, Del Toro was having a good time introducing different creatures and concepts and adventures to the franchise. For the special effects, I'd have to say they're exquisite. The prosthetic and makeup are to die for, and it looked like everything that Guillermo wanted to use. And then it kind of looked like it came straight out of a sketchbook, like like unused creatures or something like that. And I've heard criticisms like that before. While that doesn't bother me, I've heard that it bothers other people. But I will say that the story does suffer a little bit. Remember I was telling you about my criticisms of the first film? If not, don't worry, I'll paraphrase here for you. The dialogue, pacing, and acting all go hand in hand, and the film was a little bit awkward in delivery. And it's the same way from the first film to this film, but this is mostly in the first hour. It's tenfold. The beats of humor and seriousness, they don't quite mesh well. And that's what I'm kind of getting at. So the story sort of suffers a little bit, but not entirely, not a whole lot. Despite all of this, this is just in the first hour for me. Things focus up really well after that, and I must say, Prince Nuada segments, even in the beginning, they were the most compelling and action-packed for me. So throughout this film, I kept thinking this was going to be a liked it rating, and I was almost disappointed that it almost became that. And then I started to love it again. And that's mostly on the second half of the film because things, well, I'll get to that in a second, but I honestly didn't want to just like it. Like I, previously mentioned, I love these movies, and I would have wanted to actually stay true to that, but you know how you get older and see flaws in things and things don't click like they used to. I thought, oh my God, this is what's happening now. Like, hey, no, not my Hellboy. No. But by the end, I was still in love with this world. I enjoyed the villain, Prince Nuada, and I don't think he gets enough credit for being a formidable villain against Hellboy. He's also one out of a few villains that actually tries to get things done himself, without having other creatures do his bidding. Like, he works alongside of the creatures that he uses, or he does one or two different creatures do his bidding, but ultimately, he does a lot of legwork himself. Ron Perlman as Hellboy will always be my Hellboy. David Harbour did a great job, do not get me wrong, but Ron, he's my dude. He's my version. Selma Blair, Doug Jones, and the other two actors that actually play one character, Johann Kraus, John Alexander and James Dodd, they are all fully committed to their roles. I even liked Jeffrey Tambor. They're all entertaining. They were really, really great. The creatures in this film tell all sorts of stories that I wish the film had more time to explain. One in particular always got me, which was one of these shopkeepers in an underground market that looks like he has a castle on his head. Always curious about that, and I still want to know more. But the real selling point for me here, beyond all the rest of the stuff that I mentioned, were the fight sequences. I am a sucker for a fight sequence, and I have some of my favorites, and Hellboy does provide enough. The only thing is, it's Nuada who proves throughout this that he's the most physically demanding villain. He puts our characters to the test, demanding their physical prowess. So it's emotionally charging for them as well when they have no choice but to combat against him. So I felt like everyone had a part to play in this film and not just Hellboy's past becoming the issue like the first film. The fights range from decent to fun, but I do find them a little awkwardly staged at points, but impressive nonetheless between the use of prosthetics and CGI. My favorite sequence is towards the end when Hellboy goes up against the Golden Army. Easily the best portion of the fight sequences. Guys and gals, in the end, I really felt this was a worthy successor to the Hellboy franchise. It's fun, creative, it's action-oriented, and inspiring. I think you should give this a watch just the same as the first film. It's less darker than the first film, probably far more deeper in mythos and darker tones and settings, but it's not overall a dark film like the first film is. And I think it succeeds in going in that direction. With that, I loved Hellboy 2 and own it on DVD. Can't believe that I was this close to saying I liked it. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. If you've seen Hellboy, let me know down in the comments. Be kind, be reasonable, and let's talk. Like, share, and subscribe, and click that bell so you don't miss another video. With all that said, I hope you all have a fantastic and wonderful day. Until next time.